Today here with me in the European Parliament in Brussels is Agius Saliba representing Malta. Thank you so much for your presence.
It's my pleasure.
We are discussing about the petty committee activity. Though, what is the situation of petitions in your country, for example, coming from your country?
We have a lot of differences when it comes to where the petitions are coming. And it's a little bit of an imbalance when you look at the petitioners from where they are coming from the 27 member states. I believe that Spanish and Italian petitioners are the most active citizens when it comes to the petty committee. And I believe that it is a pity that we are in this situation, because the petitions committee is the only committee in the European Parliament where a citizen can come directly in front of a Parliament official committee, in front of the European Commission, and ask directly a number of questions and get answers for them. And it's the only possibility for the European Parliament to give direct answers for our citizens. From Malta, we don't have a lot of petitions. Obviously, we're the smallest member state, and still I believe that the petty committee is not a very popular committee in my member state. But this is not only a problem in Malta.
It's a problem of Romania also, from what I understood
even
from
Romania. We don't receive a lot of petitions from Romania. But again, it's not a Maltese or Romanian problem. I think that as a European Parliament, we should promote more this very important committee, because ultimately it's a very important tool for our citizens, for our businesses, to be able to get answers and solutions.
But is it efficient? Is it efficient, your committee? If I'm coming to you with a petition, should my problem be solved in a period of time that is necessary?
Cum arată femeile trei degete la
During this legislature, we have closed a lot of petitions, and we have also solved a lot of issues, from
Nu prea a fost pe la Ferrari, da.
to issues dealing with freedom of movement, for example.
Am făcut și la Ferrari.
We had
de multe.
big chunk of petitions which were dealt in less than 6 months. So it's an effective committee. But again, to be more effective, this committee has to be popular in the same way in each and every member state. And I think that the European Parliament we invest a lot when it comes to advertising, when it comes to advertising what we are doing here in the European Parliament. But I believe that this committee should get more visibility here and also in our member states. For example, one of the biggest challenges that we found during this legislature was the responses from the Commission. One of the biggest setbacks for dealing with petitions was that the European Commission was taking a lot of time to reply. But
too much time to be efficient for me as citizen. Exactly.
It doesn't make sense for a citizen to write to the European Parliament and the Commission will come up with an answer after 1 year.
Maybe the problem have
been solved. In many cases, the problems will be solved, or, for example, if it is an issue dealing with the environment, with construction. If you take a whole year for the Commission to come up with an answer, it will be too late for the NGOs, for the citizens to get a remedy for their problem. So we have focused a lot, even in the report that we have just approved a couple of weeks ago, on the works of the Petty Committee on the yearly report. I was the rapporteur for this report for this year. We made it a point for the European Commission to be more efficient, more effective when giving answers, because ultimately, if we don't get the replies from the Commission, the whole process will be stalled.
So what should a citizen do in any member state if he or she discovers a problem?
So it's the beauty of this committee is the very simple procedure. So first of all, you don't need to go to a lawyer to write you the petition. It's a summary of the problem. You can do it online just by registering in the Petty Committee website. So you have just to write down in the search engine Petty Committee European Parliament. It's a very simple procedure, obviously. For the Petty Committee to have jurisdiction, let's put it like that, on a problem to be dealt with by this committee, it has to be an issue that the European Union has competence upon. So if it's a totally national competence issue, then you cannot get a remedy from this committee. But if you have an issue that is being dealt by the European Union acquis, and you are seeing that your member state is not observing EU laws, then you can write directly to this committee. We have also a fast-track procedure for those petitions which need a fast reply, a fast solution, and it's very easy. It won't cost you anything. And ultimately, you can also come here in the European Parliament and present your petition physically without paying anything.
On which subject are the most of the petitions?
I think that the most petitions that we receive are environmental issues. We are seeing a lot of environmental problems in a number of member states.
In general, pollution, I guess.
When it comes to pollution, when it comes to construction, when it comes to environmental impact assessments, when it comes to fundamental rights for our citizens, the freedom of movement, when it comes, for example, to petitions dealing with disability and disability rights in our member states. We are still very far behind when it comes to LGBTIQ issues and the recognition of fundamental rights for minorities in different member states. So it's a diverse mix of petitions, but I believe that the biggest chunk of petitions that we are receiving are dealing with environmental issues.
You've read almost all of the petitions from the beginning till the end. If not, you for sure have had a summary of them. What was, I know it's difficult, it's a difficult question, but what was the most important issue that you've seen there on the paper? One that...
I think that, and we had to really act fast in that period. Basically, during the COVID pandemic, we stopped and paused all the petitions to focus directly on a number of petitions that we were receiving, dealing with emergency measures, for example, taken by different member states during the pandemic, restricting movement when it came to COVID vaccines. These were touching the most fundamental rights of our citizens in a time where basically the citizens were trapped in their member states. So during that period, we had to function really fast to deal with these petitions in a time of emergency, and they were touching upon the most fundamental rights for our democracies, for citizens' fundamental rights. So if you tell me the most important petitions that you dealt with, that left a mark on you, are the COVID period petitions, but again, we had also a number of petitions. If you would tell me which petition did it touch you the most, even emotionally, it was an issue dealing with institutionalization of persons with disability. We had a number of petitioners coming from a number of member states. One of them was also a Romanian petitioner, where they wrote to the Committee of Petitions on a number of EU funds that were being used to build a number of institutions for persons with disability, basically to integrate them in our societies. And they brought proof by photos, recording, videos, whereby the rights of these persons who were institutionalized in these centers were degrading, if I could use the right terminology. And ultimately, we provided a solution also for those petitioners by putting pressure on a number of member states to close down these institutions and ultimately integrate in a more tangible way persons with disability in the education system, in the employment system, and also in the everyday life within our communities.
In the end of our discussion, let's talk for a minute about the Citizens' Initiative also. It's more difficult to do it, but it might have a final act with a stronger appliance.
I think that the European Citizens' Initiative is a very strong tool for our citizens. It's a more complex, much more complex process than a simple petition submitted online, because you have to gather a number of signatories, not only from your member state, but from a number of member states. But again, we saw a number of successful petitions. For example, the End the Cage European Citizens' Initiative, where thousands of signatories were collected from all around Europe, and now the Commission will be presenting a proposal basically to be able to safeguard animal rights within our union. And we have also a special procedure in the Petty Committee whereby if a particular petition gains momentum in our member states, but it won't reach the threshold of signatories, we still deal with that petition, with that citizens' initiative, and we still provide solutions.
That's very important to be known. Thank you so much for your presence and for this discussion. Vouă celor de acasă vă spun să rămâneți pe Antena 3 CNN. Nu uitați că ne revedem și sâmbătă viitoare la 9:30. Cu bine și sănătoși să fim!